Hey folks, how you doing? Today we are going to talk about tips, tricks, and hacks to lower your carbs. These are just things that I have used to keep me on track. All right, and they're not in any particular order. It's just getting them out there. So some swaps. Cauliflower. I was like super sick of cauliflower. I just felt like it was so overused. But if you do it right, if you do it properly, it's actually really good. So cauliflower rice, for instance, you can make your own. Take a head of cauliflower, cut it up into larger chunks, equally sized chunks, throw it in your food processor and buzz it up until it's the consistency of rice. Then put it on a piece of parchment paper and bake it. Same with zucchini. Spiralize it, put it on a piece of parchment paper. If you want to season either one of them, go ahead, you can do that. That's fine. But you want to bake it to get the moisture out, and when you get the moisture out, you're getting out the cauliflowery taste. So that is a good thing to do. Cauliflower mashed potatoes. I was always like, do they really taste like mashed potatoes? Yep, they sure do, if you do it right. So I steam my cauliflower, and then you probably want to let it cool off. And if you have a piece of cheesecloth, or somehow you want to squeeze out the water. Again, it's the water that holds the cauliflowery taste. If you can squeeze out that water, at least some of it, and then mash it and put a bunch of butter and heavy whipping cream in there and salt and pepper. Ooh, y'all, that shit is good. It's too good. So the trick to both cauliflower and zoodles is to cook the moisture out of it. You can also dry fry your cauliflower rice. Okay, if you buy prepared cauliflower rice, like at Costco, I buy a big bag of it, and it's like 4 1-pound packages inside the big bag, and they're microwavable. I microwave them per the instructions, so then they're hot, but they're still kind of wet and steamy. Drain off that water and then spread them out on a piece of parchment paper and put those in the oven for 20-ish minutes. Keep an eye on them. Once they start to turn golden on the edges, then they're good. I think you'll be really surprised. So that's a cauliflower and zucchini hack for those things. With zoodles, if you got the spiralizer that I recommended in my spaghetti with zoodles video, that comes with a bunch of different blades, so you can kind of replicate different types of pasta. I typically only use the angel hair, the super fine one, the super fine blade, and the I think it's a thin, just a cut, so it makes like a big loopy, floppy, it looks like bow tie pasta, so that's what I use in place of bow tie pasta. Here we go with that again. Oh, okay. This time, I'm gonna remember to put this bitch on mute. There we go. How many times did it take me to figure that out? All the times. Wraps. Okay. Crepinis are really good. I will post a picture of them. Do I need to say that out loud? No. Crepinis are really good, but they're really thin. They're big. I mean, they're like this big. They're like as big as a dinner plate, but they're really, really thin. So you would have to use 2, and they're good. They work really well, but you have to use 2 and then load them up and roll them up and eat them as a wrap. Also, Egg Life wraps are really good, and they come in a bunch of different flavors. So you can use those in place of bread. Surprisingly, the Egg Life wraps don't taste like eggs. They're not really eggy. So it's a really good option. Cheese wraps, I think they're called cheese folios or something. Okay, it's cheese. Cheese is amazing, but it's too much cheese. It's too cheesy. It's overpowering. Even if you load your sandwich way up with, or load your wrap way up with, meat and veg and whatever, and I think it's too much, but it's an option. Burgers, sandwiches, and subs and things like that you would normally eat in bread or in a bun, you can just skip the bun. if you're going out to dinner or whatever, you can just eat it with a knife and fork. Even if you're at home, I make bowls of whatever, like Chicago dog bowls, a burger bowl, pizza bowl, sub in a tub. So everything that you would put on a sub sandwich, put it in a bowl. You know, even with the mayonnaise or Italian dressing or whatever, that's all you need. It's great. You don't need the bread. Cauliflower pizza crusts are an option. If it's just the crust and you're going to top it yourself, also pop that in the oven first and bake some of the flavor out of it. Watch for added carbs, because a lot of times I put potato starch in with those kind of things to get everything to stick together. Cauliflower crusts they're okay, they're good, they're fine. I know we have some local restaurants around town that's their gluten-free option, and it's a decent option. It's great. My favorite, and I tried to get one local restaurant in particular I sent them the recipe, and I'm like, you guys should really do this, because it literally tastes on point like an actual pizza crust. I'm going to do a video on that in the future, but it's called Fathead Pizza or Fathead Pizza Dough. It's so good and it's so easy. Again, you have to bake that first, and then you top it, and then you put it back in the oven just to heat up your toppings and melt your cheese. Super good. So back to the pizza thing. If you're going out with your friends and they want to get a pizza or whatever, and you're low carb now, so you're not gonna, and you don't eat wheat, you can still enjoy the pizza, just eat the toppings off of it. Hopefully your friends won't be offended by that. And you can tell them up front or ahead of time, you know, that I don't eat that anymore, so this is what I'm gonna do. And hopefully they'll support you and maybe even get on board. Thickening for sauces and stews or whatever, arrowroot is good. You can get that probably in the health food aisle of your grocery store and health food stores. It's very similar to cornstarch. It does have a few carbs in it. Don't sweat it. Also, arrowroot has zero taste, which is awesome. I've said this before in previous videos, but planning is everything. So just keep yourself set up for success. Have charcuterie stuff in the fridge ready to go. Your cheeses, your olives, some nuts, and some good deli meats. Have a variety of that stuff too, because you don't want to get sick of it. If you have that stuff on hand, then if you're in a pinch and you need something to eat really quick, just pull that stuff out, and while you're at it, grab yourself a little glass of wine to go with it and really enjoy it. If you are out and about and in a pinch for some food, you can still go to fast food restaurants. I can't tell you the last time I went to a fast food restaurant. Yes, I can. I went to Culver's probably a year ago and had the fish. It wasn't the greatest. It had a shitty wheat breading on it, and of course that was not my friend. But you can go to, I guess, places and order just the burger patties. You can just get burger patties and eat those, and I'm sure the restaurant will have a fork that you can have. But if you want to be prepared, keep a couple of forks in your car, and maybe even a plastic knife, so that you can, if you get into a situation like that, you're prepared, and you can, even if you have to order the whole burger and just chuck the bun, you're all set. So just meals in general, you don't have to make like fancy recipes. You don't have to spend a bunch of time and money on recipes with like a ton of ingredients in them. You know, back in the day, we would have chicken and a vegetable, or a chuck roast and a vegetable. Go back to that. It's easy. Throw that shit in the crock pot, man. Make life easier for yourself. A chuck roast in the crock pot with some carrots and onions and one potato, not because back in the day it used to be a bunch of potatoes, but one potato, so that you can visually enjoy it the way you remember it, and then also have the taste of that one potato that you would spread out into everyone's meals. Or skip the potatoes and make the cauliflower mashed potatoes. I'm not kidding you guys, that shit is good. I for real thought it was just gonna be like, I thought it was gonna taste cauliflowery, and the first time I had it, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing, this is great. You can still make your favorite chili recipe just watch for any added sugar in the tomato products, and I would skip the beans and double the meat. And then you can just carry on with your favorite old chili recipe, load it up with shredded cheese and sour cream and avocado. It's all good. One thing that I really like to make is fatty pork roast. I don't remember the name of it. I don't know if it's a butt roast, but it's the pork roast that comes in that little netted bag kind of thing so that it stays together while it's cooking. One of those, cheap as hell. Put that in the crock pot, cook that all day long, pull it apart. We're trying to eat higher fat. I'm not really down with eating fat like that. I don't mind it in a liquid state, like in with the meat when it's real marbled in, but like to just eat a chunk of fat, I can't do that. Nope. But back to the pork roast, and make it a dry, or get a dry barbecue rub that doesn't have sugar in it, which is why I make my own. Sprinkle that on it, and if you make yourself a savory coleslaw to go with it, have you a Tennessee barbecue, and then put some of that barbecue rub on the coleslaw too. Ooh, I will tear that up. So if you make like a pork tenderloin kind of a meal, or a beef tenderloin, those are not fatty cuts of meat. They're delicious, and I love both of them. Butter will be your friend there. Just melt some butter on them to up that fat content. If you like stir fries, something that you can do to make that even quicker, again, use your crock pot. Put your favorite meat in there for your stir fry. Let that cook all day. When you get home, shred it. And then saute your vegetables in like a coconut oil. You can use an olive oil or avocado oil or bacon grease or tallow, any good fat. And I don't remember what I just said. Yeah, saute your vegetables in a good fat, and then toss the meat that you've already cooked right on it, and it's going to be very tender and very delicious. You can also use the baked cauliflower rice with your stir fry. Just remember that the rice is not the star of the show. The actual whole foods, meat and veg are the star of the show, so it's a little bit of rice and a lot of the meat and veg. Oh, another very important tip, trick, whatever. Breyer's Carb Smart ice cream. They only have vanilla and chocolate, but that is legit, because often keto ice creams are like, they're really hard. Like you gotta microwave them, let them sit out or whatever, or bend up your spoons and shit trying to get them out. Not with the Breyer's Carb Smart ice cream. So give that a try. Also, Hershey's has a chocolate topping, a sugar-free chocolate topping, which is delicious. And then throw some nuts on top of it. It is decadent and fabulous. But remember, this is a treat. This is not a huge mammoth bowl. You eat a couple of scoops and then dress it up nice and pretty and enjoy it. Slow down, enjoy it. And don't eat it every damn day. Also, too, you can always get on Pinterest or Google or whatever and search for your very favorite food items, and then just put keto at the end or at the beginning. So, fun. What's one of my favorite things that I ketoed? One of my favorite things that I ketoed ketofied is White Russians. But dang, oh my God, so good and so satisfying. What's the trick? Because you can't use, what's that stuff called? Kahlua. You can't use Kahlua because it has got a shit ton of sugar in it. So get yourself some cold brew coffee. I think it's Stoke or Stock. It's S-T-O-K, but then there's that long thing over the O. Stoke unsweetened coffee. That stuff is really good. It has a couple of carbs in it because it has natural flavorings. I don't know what that is, but in this situation, and the carbs are fairly low, I don't really sweat that. but it's delicious. It is really, really good. So use that in place of the Kahlua. So your cold brew coffee, vodka, and heavy whipping cream. And if you want, you can put a couple of drops of stevia or your favorite liquid, no-calorie sweetener. It's a good day for a good day with that. Matter of fact, I might have to have one of those tonight. So it's fun. I think it's fun to research your favorite recipes and then just try to figure out how to swap that stuff out. And hopefully I've given you enough information to figure out which kind of swaps you want. And if worse comes to worse, just leave out whatever. If you're going to make something that requires, like I make shrimp Dijon. Some people use crushed up pork rinds as the breading part of it. I tried that. I thought it tasted fine. I thought it tasted good. I used the kind of hot pork rinds, and half the people I served it to thought it was excellent. They wouldn't have even known the difference. And the other half of the people I told what I did, and they were like, because some people just aren't down with pork rinds. I don't really like pork rinds. I want to like the pork rind because it's crunchy and salty, and there's 0 carbs in it. But the only ones that I like are like the really heavily flavored pork rinds, like the dill pickle pork rinds, which are delicious. But somewhere in there is some sugar. It's like a maltodextrin bullshit. And so then, well, I mean, I ate them, but. So there's swaps like that you can easily just omit the breadcrumbs, omit whatever wheat-based or high-carb thing that's in there and switch it out for something else. Oftentimes people will switch out potatoes for turnips. I did that a couple of times, and one time it was really good, and the other time it was not so good. The turnips were kind of bitter. I don't know how to buy a decent turnip, so I got to figure that out. But it's an option that if you know how to buy a decent turnip, use it. At some point, I will do a video on how I make my mac and cheese, but I can just tell you, if you want to try it ahead of time, I take cauliflower, cut it up, I put it in a big bowl so that I can really get it coated with olive oil, season it with salt and pepper, maybe some seasoning salt with no sugar in it. Don't get Lowry's, it's got sugar in it. Again, no, what do I use? I use Redmond's real salt, seasoning salt. That's good shit. That's good salt too, it's a good quality salt. So toss your cauliflower and your fat, your olive oil with your seasonings, roast it, and then I use Velveeta, melt some Velveeta in a pan, and I would say a thwap of mayonnaise and a little lemon juice if you have some, and a little heavy whipping cream to get it all going and make it creamy to the consistency that you like, and put your roasted cauliflower in there when it's done. It is divine, for real. Make you a burger out on the grill, put those two together. It's so good. You guys, I almost forgot one of my most favorite things of all time. Pasta salad. Man, I love me a pasta salad. What you can do is use your spiralizer, make your zoodles, whatever shape you want, and then you double the meat and you double the veg and you double the olives. So we want to switch that mindset that the pasta, zoodles, rice, all of that stuff is a little bit, and the actual real whole foods are, zucchini and cauliflower is a real whole food too, yes. But the other meats and fats are the star of the show. And then toss it with your favorite Italian dressing. Hold up. Most dressings, most salad dressings have freaking sugar in them, so you can make your own. I have a great recipe for that. I want to share all my recipes with you guys, but I've tweaked every single one of them, and it's all handwritten tweaks on there because some people do just the dumbest thing in their recipes. I don't even understand. I'm like, one recipe in particular that I love is a Parmesan Alfredo sauce, and it calls for a certain amount of shredded Parmesan cheese and a certain amount of shaved Parmesan cheese. Are you fucking kidding me right now? The shape of the cheese that gets melted matters? I don't think so. So stuff like that, I've switched that out. Plus it was a ridiculous amount, completely unnecessary. Anyway, back to the pasta salad. Use your zoodles raw in your pasta salad, just less, because usually a pasta salad is just a shit ton of pasta, and just for, usually a pasta salad is this huge amount of pasta and just little sprinkles of what I call the good stuff, just to make it look nice. We're gonna do it the other way. We're gonna have a huge amount of the good stuff, the meats, the olives, the tomatoes, the veg, whatever veg you like, peppers, whatever, and a little bit of the zoodles, and then toss that all together, and some cheese. Toss that all together with a sugar-free dressing. I have shared that with a lot of people, and they are like, yeah, I could eat this. I could eat this shit all day. So I didn't want to forget that. Okay, that was quick. So those are some of my quick tips and tricks. Honestly, I don't really feel like I eat that much differently than I used to, except for the fact that I just don't eat grains and sugar, and I eat the same proteins and veg that I used to, and I just try to eat more meat and more fat than the vegetable part of it, which is kind of flipped from the way I used to eat. So keep that in mind. It's very satisfying and delicious, and I think very easy to stick to. Okay, everybody, I think hopefully that helps give you a little direction on hacks and tips and swaps that you can use, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.